McLean County residents should be looking out for possible scam callers claiming they work for the state's attorney's office. Madison Porter joins us from the newsroom with more on this warning.
Lizzie, State's Attorney Erica Reynolds says someone is using a fake name with the address of her office to trick people into paying for a car loan debt. Reynolds says a mutual friend reached out to her yesterday asking if a specific person with a specific name works in her office. When Reynolds said no, they knew it was a scam. Unfortunately, the scam call was successful. She says any communication the state's attorney's office has is with victims, and any payments would be to the clerk's office.
That my office does not call anybody to solicit any type of money on behalf of any private entity or really at all. We just don't accept money in our office.
If someone does get a call, Reynolds says to report it to the police. And if someone pays a scam caller, contact your bank to report the fraud.
Don't hand off any personal information over the phone. And especially on something that you're not expecting, a call you're not expecting, email or whatever it is.
Reynolds says for now, this was an isolated call, but she wanted to get ahead of it before more people fall victim.